Welcome to your community. This is your hometown. This is Walton Entertainment. This is where you can hear from the community and those making a difference. We explore topics, local festivals, arts and entertainment, and local news. For this program and much more, visit us online at yourlocalstream.com. That's yourlocalstream.com.
Hello, I'm Kenny Sargent with Keep Walton Beautiful and the Walton County Recycling Center. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Staying real busy here at the center and starting to get to work on our Rivers Alive event that we do every October. We haven't finalized the date yet, but we are working on that and should have one soon. So I'll update you as soon as I can with that. But I did want to mention the Rivers Live event to give everyone an opportunity to volunteer for the event. We are trying to build that event back up. Since COVID, our numbers are down some. We would like to get that back up over that 300 or 400 volunteer mark. It is a wonderful event to volunteer for. If you're a church group or any other civic organization looking for volunteer opportunities, it's a great one. We'll assign you areas, around any of the county's waterways or close to those waterways to clean up and keep that trash out of our county waterways. So, if you want to learn more about the event or more details, give us a call here at the Recycling Center, 770-267-1421. Be more than happy to tell you a little bit more about Rivers Alive and how you might be able to volunteer. So give us a call. We're looking forward to that. And one of the other things I wanted to mention is I do feel like a lot of you are aware that we're taking mattresses now, and that is true. But the mattresses we take aren't for disposal. They're actually refurbished. The mattresses are refurbished and sent overseas and to other locations. So the mattresses have to be at a bare minimum in fair condition. So we've been having to turn away a lot of cars. They come in with mattresses that are torn apart or soaking wet or holes burned all the way through them. And those are not mattresses we can take here. So we're going to have to send you somewhere else if you come down here with those mattresses, and we really don't want to do that. We'd rather prevent you from coming down here and being turned away. So just remember, if you're swapping out your mattresses at home, keep your old mattress inside or in the garage or in the carport until you can get it down here to us. If it's soaking wet, we're not going to be able to take it. If it's all torn up, we're not going to be able to take it. So if it's been sitting out back in your yard for a month, chances are you're not going to be able to bring it here. So did just want to make you aware of that. We've also had quite a number of cars coming in lately with yard waste, grass clippings, and they're cutting back trees at this point, and we're having to turn those cars around. So just know that all of your yard waste needs to go to an inert landfill. Again, give us a call. We'll make sure we get you to the nearest one to you, but it cannot be accepted here. And like I always do, come out and see us. Let us help you get started recycling. Come through. If you're already an avid recycler, come in and talk to us. We'll talk about some of the new things we're trying to recycle, some of the things you can be doing at home. Give us a call. If you have any environmental questions or wanting to know what's going on around the county in the way of environmental activities, give us a call. We'd be happy to hear from you and to talk about that stuff. Again, our number is 770-267-1421. Always happy to hear from you. Come out and see us. Let us show you what we're doing down here. And until next time, take care.
Hi, I'm Jody Johnson. I'm here with another recreation report. We've got a couple of things going on this summer. One is our Kids Bingo. It's on Mondays at Felker Community Center, Wednesdays at Meridian in Loganville, and Fridays at South Walton. It's from 10 to 12 o'clock. Kids can come in and adults can come in. You can play bingo. It's just something, just a little fun activity. It doesn't cost anything to get there and do that. Our splash pad is also open. It's $3 per person to go in there, and as hot as it is outside, it's a great way to go, in a very affordable way. We have a few of our weekly or nightly rentals that if you want to have a birthday party or things like that, we have very few openings left for that. We do 2 on Saturdays and Fridays, and then we have one every night if you'd like to rent the splash pad out for your event by yourself. Groups can come in again to the. We don't rent out the pavilions anymore for that because everybody's hunting the shade. We're not splashing around in the water, but it is a great place to go. We're averaging, about 100 people a day are going inside the splash pad and having a good time with that. So the other thing we have going on is our 5K, our first annual 5K run walk. We're doing this out at the reservoir. We want to bring people out to see that, and this is going to be kind of a unique place to go, where you'll come into the reservoir, then you'll register for the event. You can also register online, and then you'll run, and you'll actually run over the 2 bridges that go over the reservoir. So it's a pretty place to go, and this is August 24th. And it starts at 7:30 in the morning. So go online to our website at waltoncountyga.gov. You can see information about that. There are sponsorships available if you'd like to sponsor it. You'll get your name on the shirt that we'll be handing out to all the participants that come in. So it's something we're looking towards doing every year. We may add some other events out at the reservoir. So it's a great gathering place. It's wide open. There's not a whole lot of traffic out there, so it's a good place to do those kind of events. Thinking about doing some type of biathlon where we'll have some kayak races and that sort of thing. Can't swim in the reservoir because it eventually is going to be a place that you'll have water that will be servicing the county. But you can boat, kayak, as long as it's an electric motor. But we're thinking about adding some of those type of events out there as well. Our sports registrations are. Our fall registration is complete. All our teams have been selected. We're in the process of getting uniforms, and practices start next week just before school starts. So if you're looking for that, our basketball registration will be coming up as our next sports registration, which is our winter basketball, which will be coming up in a couple weeks. We'll be sending that information out. You can also go online at waltoncountyga.gov, go to the recreation page, and it'll have the dates for registration there as well. Hopefully we'll see you at one of our community centers. It's really too hot to get out and do a whole lot of exercise in the middle of the day, but in the mornings and at night we still have a lot of people playing pickleball at our courts. At our indoor courts at Crystal Park are just about complete. Probably within the next 2 months those will be done, and you'll be able to start utilizing those as well on the inside. A lot of shooting sports will be going on the inside too, where they'll have their BB teams and their pellet teams and archery teams. They'll be utilizing the indoor facilities in the evenings, but we'll have pickleball in the mornings available for anyone that wants to do that. So a lot of things going on. The best place to look for our information is on our website at waltoncountyga.gov. All of our phone numbers are on there. If you have any questions, please give us a call. Talk to you soon. Thank you.
Hello, welcome to Monroe Walton Center for the Arts. We have our tiny art show in. We've got around 30 artists, maybe 31 or 32 artists in the show right now. Everything is super affordable. Of course, it's tiny. That means it's about 10 inches square or smaller framed. And so I'm sure there's a little corner in your home or office where you can find a spot for some of our art. So please do support local artists and shop the Tiny Art Show. We'll have new things coming in, as things are being sold. So this show will be ever evolving and changing, and it goes through July 23rd. And I forget to mention sometimes that we have a little art show going on at the Row in their back private dining area. Several of our artists, probably about 10 or so of our artists, have art for sale in that private dining room. So if you're there at the Row eating, or if you just want to visit and walk back and see that area, everything in there is for sale as well. So please don't miss that. That show ends August 4th. And so next weekend, or this coming up weekend, on July 13th, we have Pirate Day here in Monroe. It's a citywide event. I think a few businesses will be participating. I'm not sure how many, but we, of course, will be having some workshops here. We'll have free popcorn. So come and see what we have going on here. That's next Saturday. We'll have face painting too. So bring the kids, bring the grandkids. Our workshops and the face painting will be over a little bit early, by 12 or 1 o'clock or so. So if you want to come between about 10 and 1 to catch the workshops and the face painting. And free popcorn as long as it lasts. View the show, see what we have going on. All of our summer art camps are sold out at this time. So we had 2 coming up in July. They are sold out. So pay attention to what we have going on next year. We usually make the announcement in April for our summer art camps. So we hope to see you soon. Support local artists. Get in out of the heat. It's nice and cool in here. Beautiful things in our shop, beautiful things in the show. Pick up a class list and see what we have going on. We'll see you soon. Thank you.
So without further ado, I'm going to allow Kalani to come up here, and she's going to share some about herself and the Key Club, and we look forward to hearing about it.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kaylani Alexandra Johnson, and I'm a Walnut Grove High School graduate. I am so very honored to be here today. I would first like to thank everyone here today, including my family and the Kiwanis Scholarship sponsors. Thank you, Mom, for always supporting me and encouraging me to pursue my dreams. Thank you, Dad, for my passion in mathematics. I am positive I got my nerdy academic brain from you. I would also like to thank my brother, who unfortunately couldn't attend today due to work, for always finding the humor in everything, and for the countless laughs over the years. I would also like to thank my sister, Kalia, for being the best little sister I could ask for, sometimes. We have had our moments, but I know if I ever needed you, you would always be there for me. And finally, I would like to thank Sharon Kajiwara, my maternal grandma, whom I always called Mama. We were always very close, and she was essentially like my second mom. I know that she is smiling down on me today with pride as she watches over me from heaven. So thank you, Mom, Dad, Keikoa, Kalia, and Mama. I know we are not the perfect family, but that's okay because you guys are all perfect for me, and I'm so glad that you guys are mine. I will try to keep this short, but I apologize if it is not. More likely it's not going to be. I tend to talk a lot. My family and I moved here to Monroe, Georgia, almost a year and a half ago from California. It was a bit of a culture shock, but a positive one. We've never moved before, so you can imagine it was extremely difficult at first. However, we were welcomed with open arms and blessed by Southern hospitality. Who knew that was a real thing? I started at a new school and was so lucky to have met so many amazing people. I had an amazing senior year, and I could not have asked for a better place to have graduated high school from. I am so happy that we moved here, and I am so happy to proudly call Georgia home. My passion for helping others started at a very young age. I joined Girl Scouts when I was in kindergarten at the age of 5. With Girl Scouts, I participated in several community service projects and loved every minute of it. The most notable, however, was my Girl Scout Silver Award project, where a couple of friends and I renovated the girls' school bathroom at my junior high school. We volunteered over 100 hours of community service in planning, gathering materials, and ultimately painting the stalls with positive quotes to boost self-esteem. Furthermore, in junior high, I was involved in leadership. I volunteered over 150 hours in the 2 years that I attended that school. However, when the pandemic hit in the end of my 8th grade year, my ability to volunteer lessened. But I did pick it up again when we moved here to Georgia. I joined Key Club and FBLA, and in the short time that I was here, I was able to complete over 100 hours of service. And as a result, I was awarded the Key Club medallion to wear at graduation. There were numerous challenges faced during our move to Georgia, especially since it was in the middle of my junior year of high school. However, I managed to thrive and succeed in all of my academics and extracurriculars, and because of this, I graduated Walnut Grove High School with highest honors and ranked 27th out of 324 students. Volunteering has allowed me the opportunity to help others and has given me a fulfillment in knowing that I was able to give back to my community and make a difference. My mama's diagnosis with stage 4 breast cancer and her involvement in the community sparked my interest in organizing fundraisers at a young age. At age 10, I organized one fundraiser for 2 families battling cancer. Monroe, that was her name, coincidentally, a 4-year-old with neuroblastoma blood cancer, and my 3rd grade teacher, Stacy Gibbons, and mother of 2 who had breast cancer. I made rubber band bracelets and raised a total of $380, which was split between them. Unfortunately, my 3rd grade teacher, Mrs. Gibbons, passed away. She was in remission, but the cancer came back. She was a fighter though, and on the day of her funeral, nearly the entire elementary school attended, about 300 people. At age 12, I completed another fundraiser and raised $900 this time. A little more experience in it, I guess you could say. For Savannah, an 18-year-old with leukemia, and Issa, a 4-year-old with hybrid leukemia. Both of these girls are in remission now and are healthy. I still keep in contact with them to this day. I know that in comparison to the cost that they had, what I was able to do for them was very minimal. However, it meant a lot to them because I was so young and I put in the effort to help them in any way possible during that trying time. I have always wanted to become a high school math teacher. Well, I've had a passion for mathematics since 3rd grade, and that developed into becoming a teacher at 6th grade. First, it was a middle school math teacher, then it evolved into high school, then it went maybe professor at a college, and now it's back to high school. And I believe that teaching is not just about imparting knowledge, but it is also about inspiring and guiding students to reach their full potential. I have tutored a total of 5 students, including a classmate in 6th grade with autism, and 4 middle school students while I was in high school. It was incredibly rewarding to know that I was able to help them understand the material by explaining it in a way that made sense to them, ultimately building their self-confidence. These students made profound impacts on their grades, 2 in particular going from being CD students to AD students. Furthermore, to gain more experience, I participated in a volunteer SAT boot camp for math, where I was responsible for tutoring 8 students over a month-long period to improve their understanding of the math section of the SAT and help increase their scores. One student in particular reached out to me after she had received her score and thanked me for my help because she improved her score by a total of 220 points, going from an 1160 to a 1380, and that was mainly in just math. This made me feel extremely proud and happy for her because I was able to make such a difference. I have been accepted and decided to attend Piedmont University in Demarest, Georgia, a private university known for producing amazing educators. I know that I will succeed there as I have always been a very determined and hardworking student. I put in 110% and strive for excellence in all that I do. So in conclusion, I am very thankful to be here today. Thank you for everyone attending and being here to support me, especially for sitting through that extremely long speech. So, thank you, and that's it.
You get back up here, bud. We have to take, somebody needs to take a picture. You got it, Keith? Thank you. Thank you. And that was not a long speech. When Keith talks, he talks twice that.
You don't know the talking is.
So thank y'all so much for coming. It was wonderful to meet you, and I was very inspired by your story. And I think, like everybody, I was sitting there going, I thought I did a lot. You know? You're really an inspiration. So I would encourage you to share your story with as many young people as you can, because I know if you were that much of an inspiration to us, I can't even imagine how much that would inspire the younger generation, you know, and give them an example. So congratulations. So we have just a few little...
Good afternoon, everybody. I think most of you know me. My name's John Howard. I'm the mayor of the city of Monroe. Talked to Paul Mullins a couple of weeks ago about the need to better explain why we are no longer going to be carrying our cable channels and we're moving to a streaming system. And the best thing I can tell you is we were losing about $500,000 a year. That's the reason we're no longer doing cable. And if you realize what I've realized, I'm 54 years old. My age group is the age group of we have either cut the cable or we have tried to stay with cable as long as we possibly could. I cut my cable a couple of years ago and have been doing Hulu. All of our children and grandchildren have been streaming for years, and they carry around this thing and they can watch whatever, whenever. They don't generally watch TV the way that we did growing up. So that being said, about a year ago we had an agreement that once we reached a capacity level of 50% of the city covered in fiber, and we had enough cable that had fallen off of the radar, that folks had opted out of cable, we would go ahead and cut our system or eliminate our system. In the meantime, most streaming services are not very user-friendly. That most of us like that channel 2 that had the scrolling system of what's coming on 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. So we found a streaming solution that we could offer that has that same user feel, and it's worked very well. I'm on it. It's under a City of Monroe streaming option. It's $69.99 a month, and that covers 115 channels. And what's really, really good, three parts of it. One, it has your channel guide. Two, it has Bally Sports, so you have the Braves game on. And 3, it carries all of your local Atlanta channels as well. So we recommend 25 meg per month. And you don't have to use our streaming service. If you want to go another direction, more than happy to. Again, I had Hulu for years, specifically because I wanted the ESPN suite, and at the time YouTube channel didn't cover it. But you could do Hulu, you can do YouTube, you can do DirecTV, you do whatever you can possibly do. But if you want to go with ours, $69.99 a month, which is a little bit less than our former cable package, and carries a lot more. The other questions we get: do I need an Amazon Fire Stick or a Roku device? Yes or no. Many folks have Google TVs. They don't require a stick or anything like that. I have the Walmart version, the Vizio, and that does require a stick. So it just depends on your TV setup. Does Monroe's streaming application have all the same channels I currently have with traditional TV? Yes, for the most part it does. Again, the main thing, at least the main thing here, we have a lot of religious stations. We also have our local network. We also have Bally Sports that will be on in the ESPN suite. So the City of Monroe streaming TV app carries local channels: ABC, Fox, NBC, WATL 36, the CW, and many others. If you want to go expanded basic cable, that's $99 a month. Well, $100 really, $99.99, and has 182 channels. Premium has 212 channels. That's $115.99 a month. And then you can get 233 channels at $139.99 a month. So we don't require any contracts, cancel any time. It is a very good way and a very good reason to go ahead and switch over from cable to fiber. Now also what's really nice about the fiber, for those of you who don't know, and I didn't, so I think it's kind of neat, your speed shouldn't change very much from if you've been on cable and moving to fiber. But what will change is the fact that you can have your 5 best friends over. You can watch 5 or 6 different ball games or programs at a time, and there's no glitch in any of them. That's the reason that fiber has become so successful. It's more reliable for more people on a network. It just has a larger bandwidth. We do recommend 25 meg. That's for customers to ensure they have enough bandwidth to stream and handle regular tasks of the internet at the same time. So you can watch a show, download a movie, upload a movie, play video games, and still do your work if you have some work from home. Of course, you can always do off-air antenna as well that would not involve our fiber or our system at all. And there's really no requirement to do ours. I think we make it easy for you, and we are very, very quick to respond. When we've installed fiber in certain areas, and when we install our fiber, we're required by law to call, depending on who's in that area, to call Comcast or Xfinity or whoever might be running other lines in the network, and they would come out and mark the areas where Windstream as well, and mark the areas where their lines are supposed to be. And our guys are very good with this. Anytime we're called, we go out and do the markings. But if the lines are not marked at all, or they're marked incorrectly, and we cut a line, we've been told AT&T, Comcast, and Kinetic are all running about 2 weeks. Anytime you have something cut in our system, generally it's 6 hours, no more than 24. So you get the quality service that we've that you've come to expect in Monroe. And I remember when I was a kid, if we had a big storm, the power was going to be out a few hours. Generally, it was going to be out a day or two. 1993 downburst, it was out for almost a week. And I very rarely have much more than a flicker now. I live in a neighborhood that has that is all overhead, so we're not underground with our wires, but we've had a very consistent program about keeping trees cut back from power lines. So even in my 50-year-old neighborhood with lots of trees, very rarely do we have any outage, and if we do, again, it only lasts for a few minutes. So the quality and the service, you can't beat what we're offering right now. Now, you will also see occasionally Comcast, Xfinity, DirecTV. They will all offer really unrealistic pricing that you can have this for 6 months or a year, and then it goes up to the regular rate. We don't do that. We just try to keep a very low rate through the whole time, from beginning to end, because we don't want to tell you that you're going to pay $49.99, and then all of a sudden in a year we pop it up to $125. Our prices are going to stay. So again, $69.99 is your basic. But I do have a couple of questions that have been coming in. So let me see if I can answer a couple of these. Simultaneous TV streams, how many can I have going with TV? The platform allows you to watch up to 5 devices at the same time. You can watch it on your phone, you can watch it on your laptop, your computer, or your television. Does our application work outside of Monroe? And you can access the streaming TV application outside on your phone, tablet, or laptop. I've looked at your channel lineup. Do you not have a particular channel I'm looking for? Can you add it to your lineup? At present, the channel lineup of the city cannot be altered, and it probably will annually, that we'll add or remove a channel, but we can't do it on a month-by-month basis. You don't need a digital box, but you need a TV or device that can access the app. So again, that would either be a smart TV that is geared for these apps, or a Roku, or an Amazon Fire Stick. Do we have an interactive guide? City Monroe's streaming application has an interactive guide that can be accessed at any time you're watching the service. It will tell you information that is current, past, and future broadcast dates and times. You can pause TV. I'm sorry, you cannot pause TV, but this is expected to change over the next year. You can record programs, and it has a cloud and DVR playback. Generally, that has 12 hours, so you can watch and record several different shows. And if there's anything that I have not covered in this, please call us, 770-266-5400. We've got a great team in place to help you, and hopefully you already know that. But we'd love to hear from you, and we're excited about getting this rolling. And I'm very excited about not losing $500,000 a year out of our general fund. Prices have gone up enough in so many different areas that we're trying to keep all of our bases covered. But
Mayor John, can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
If I have just cable TV and don't have the internet, what do I do? Because I won't be able to get anything on my cable. So what do I have to do? What do I do to call Monroe to get ready for this?
Well, depending on where you live, our fiber is in most neighborhoods now, so we can run the fiber to your house, no charge to hook you up. And of course, there's the monthly charge, and I'm sorry, I don't know what that is off the top of my head. And from there, you just do the streaming device.
So my cable will not work.
Your cable.
I will have to have streaming service fiber coming into my house.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's the question.
Yes,
okay.
Sir. Or you can do that over the air antenna as well. So that's that over the air antenna is basically what we had when we were kids here. 2, 5, 11, and when the president came on, we should watch TV. But are there any other questions that I might have missed, Paul?
So another thing they could do is get an outside antenna,
Right.
and that way they could get the Atlanta stations
Right,
and
that's
out of Athens,
Right.
and then they could do the internet to get their streaming if they wanted to go that route.
Sure. Oh yeah.
Okay.
And again, you don't have to stream the city of Monroe. It's just if you are connected, you're going to need to be streaming something, unless you just wanted to do over there and have those very few channels.
The big question I think most people are asking is what happens to my cable? And cable just becomes nothing as such.
Right.
They've got to run another line into their house, which will be the...
Well, if they have cable, if they have our internet is through cable, and they don't have fiber yet, you're fine. It will still run through the cable. It's just not going to be cable TV anymore. So you can still do your internet on the coax cable that you have coming into your house, and that should be fine. The only problem with that is when you're trying to stream on multiple devices with that coax, is the quality is just not very good. And as a matter of fact, we learned that during that first weekend of COVID in March of 2020, that all of a sudden everybody went home and downloaded video games and watched movies, and it was the highest usage we have ever had citywide, and the slowest results we'd ever had, because we couldn't keep up with the bandwidth on regular coax cable.
So the question would be, if a person wants to get ready for this streaming service,
Right.
they need to call you now and not wait till the last minute so they can get everything
Absolutely. And feel free to talk to your neighbors. We want you to get what you need, and we want to be able to provide what you need. And I'm telling you, people are very honest with me about their thoughts and feelings on any changes that we make. A lot of folks don't like the fact that we're getting rid of cable TV, and I understand it. But in good conscience, I cannot charge our general fund a negative $500,000 a year. It's just not fair it's not fair to anyone, especially those who choose to not have cable TV anyway.
If they have the cable and they want to do the streaming, will you be connecting the cable into streaming that they can get it into their house through their cable?
No, sure.
Okay.
So
that's a big question.
Well, the streaming is just internet based. So if they have cable internet, and we've not gotten fiber to that particular neighborhood yet, because we're a little more than 50% right now. Part of that is that we're still waiting for some equipment, but part of it is also that folks have just not scheduled it. They don't see the need, and if they don't see the need and that's working fine for them, that's fine with us, because as long as they are connected, the coax is not going away. It's just cable TV over the coax. So if they're doing internet TV right now, you won't see a change.
Okay.
More than happy to have you. I mean, more than happy to bring fiber to you, and more than happy to have you on our system. But if you're happy with DirecTV, Xfinity, Hulu, or YouTube, by all means, do it. We just want to provide an option. Plus, we really want folks to know that cable is going away August 5th. And specifically the reason for that is because we're just hemorrhaging money, and that we do have a replacement. And that's the main thing. It's a very, very good replacement.
If they've got their house wired for cable, and this comes in, and they've got their TVs hooked to the cable in the house, that won't work, will it?
No, sir.
Okay. So what they would need to do is get the fiber into their house, and then have Wi-Fi, and then it could communicate to their different TVs if they're smart TVs.
Right. And they don't even have to have the fiber for that. If they have coax cable and they don't want to connect with fiber, they can as long as they have internet, they can continue to do what they do. They're just going to have to stream a different format, whether it's us, Hulu, YouTube, DirecTV, so on and so forth. But 5 TVs hooked up to our cable system will provide you snow, and that's about all that you'll ever see from us in the cable business again.
Okay, I think that's the questions I've been asked,
Okay.
and I appreciate your time.
Oh yes, thank
And
you for
we'll get
yours.
it. And if they're concerned, who would they call here at the city?
You probably talk to Todd. I would guess you can end up calling.
Is that Todd Leachman?
Todd Leachman,
Okay.
Mike McGuire, one of those guys. But all the team down at customer service will put you in the right area. So that number again is 770-266-5400. 770-266-5400. That'll lead you to customer service. We have been very, very busy as we're making this changeover. I'm not sure that we can hire enough people down there to pick up like that, but slow, methodically, we're getting there in the right direction.
If they have Windstream, they will still get streaming.
Right. If you have Windstream and you're happy with it, that by all means, stick with it. And if something goes wrong and you can't wait the 2 weeks, call us and we'll get you hooked up.
Okay. Well, this is Paul Mullins with Walton Entertainment. Now, I hope this interview with Mayor John Howard has helped you on what's going to happen. So basically, if you've got Windstream, you're still going to get streaming. And if you've got Monroe Cable, Monroe Streaming, you're going to have it. But if you've just got cable only, you're going to have to go to the internet. And for $69.95, Monroe will provide that. So again, call this number we've got up on the screen, and hopefully this answers questions.
Another of his children, this lady right here, Louise Walker, was married to Bob McWhirter, University of Georgia's first All-American. And this is the house where they lived. It's at the corner of Davis Street and South Broad Street. This is a picture of Billington and his wife, Alice Mitchell Walker. This appeared in the Atlanta paper when their son, Clifford, had been elected governor. Now, B.S. Walker was a native son, and he was graduated from the University of Georgia and was a lawyer. He never sought political office and never held political office. But what he did do for this town, this community, are legend. He was a leader in acquiring the first railroad to come to Monroe. He was founder and one of the founders and president of the Bank of Monroe, which today is Synovus Bank. He remained president of the bank until he died. He was one of the organizers and served as president of the Monroe Cotton Mill. He was the first president of the Cotton Manufacturers Association of Georgia. In 1924, the residents of Monroe named him our first citizen. He did a lot of other stuff for his church and for the community, and like some other citizens that we have had and I've read about and all, what they did was never known until they were gone. You know, it was done behind the scenes. There was no hoopla or whatever about it. Just a good fellow. Yeah, he was of course very well off, and sometimes we are kind of cynical about things like that. But this gentleman used what he had for the good of the community. Richard Russell. Well, everybody knows Richard Russell was from Wyandotte, Bear County, Georgia. Wrong. Bear County didn't exist until 1914, and Richard Russell was born in 1897, I believe. So he was born in Walton County. Before Bear County existed, Jackson County, Gwinnett, and Walton came together just about in the middle of Wyandotte there. And so Governor Russell was born in Walton County. He went on to become a member of the Georgia House of Representatives and then governor of Georgia in 1931 to 33. He was U.S. Senator for 38 years, from 1933 to 1971. During that time, he was chairman of the Armed Services Committee and the Appropriations Committee, and served as President Pro Tem of the Senate. The Russell Senate Building bears his name. All right. Richard Hubbard was governor, but not of Georgia. Richard was born down here too. He was born a little further south than Martha Lumpkin was born. You know, he might have been on the Social Circle Highway rather than Broad Street, but it's all the same thing. Richard Hubbard, after being born in Monroe, moved. I think actually they might have moved to New York. But anyway, he wound up as governor of Texas. He was governor of Texas from 1876 to 1879. And you know Texas likes things big. Well, Richard did not disappoint. He was the largest governor Texas ever had, at somewhere over 400 pounds.
Wow.
And a really good governor, I've read. He did a lot for Texas. Getting away from the governors and talking about some other people that have lived here and done things of worth that mattered. Moyna Michael's got to be close to the top of that list. Moyna Michael, known as a Poppy Lady, was born in this house in Good Hope. By the time she was 15 years old, she was teaching school. When the Monroe school system was founded, which was in 1906, we actually have the minutes of the meeting the first day the school board existed. They had the election that day and decided to support a school system. And so Monroe school system existed in 1906, and it was not that first meeting, but shortly thereafter, one or two meetings after that Moyna Michael and 2 or 3 of her sisters were hired as teachers for the Monroe school system. She taught at Monroe High School. She established the Poppy Drive, where selling is the wrong word, but she gave out silk poppies, and today they're plastic, I think, and in return people would make donations to that drive, and to date that drive has raised over $2 billion for veterans' benefits. She has her own United States postage stamp, and during World War II she had a Liberty ship that bore her name. She's buried in Rest Haven Cemetery. Dr. Rufus Harris was a native son of Monroe. He graduated from Mercer University and became the dean of Tulane's School of Law. And following that, he became president of Tulane University. And then, in his memoirs say, he retired to become president of his alma mater, Mercer. And he is only one of 3 Mercer presidents that have called Monroe home. Pinckney Daniel Pollock actually came to Monroe to die. He was not from here, but he was married to Eva Selman, who was the daughter of George Selman. George Selman owned the big white house on the hill on McDaniel Street. He had gotten that from Waters Briscoe, and actually George's wife was Waters' daughter. And then Eva Selman married Pinckney Daniel Pollock while he was president of Mercer. He became very ill, had to resign, and they came back and lived at the house on McDaniel Street, and that's where he passed away. Also, Gustavus Alonzo Nunley was a Baptist preacher and an educator. He was a preacher of the First Baptist Church here, I think, for 12 years, and preached at other Baptist churches in Walton and surrounding counties. He was also, I can't remember exactly, but he served as maybe superintendent of schools for Walton County. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's right. And went on to become the president of Mercer University. Eleanor Ison Franklin, both of her parents were educators. You might have seen there's a street in North Monroe called Rose Ison. That's her mother. Rose was her mother. But She was valedictorian of her class at Carver High School in 1944 at the age of 14. She went on to Spelman College and graduated magna cum laude, and then went on to be the head of the Howard University School of Medicine. She was the first female medical school president in the United States. Judge Thomas Giles is, I would say responsible, but very close to being responsible for building our historic courthouse. He was the county ordinary. He accumulated the funds. He organized the building committee and led in the meetings that they had leading up to the building and dedication of the historic courthouse. In addition to that, he gave land and money to start the A&M school at Walker Park. If you're not familiar with that, it's another story. It's a fascinating story. The school up there was a big part of this community, and it opened I think about 1906. He gave 100 acres of land and $5,000. That was a lot of money in 1906, and a lot of land too. But in addition to that, he set up an educational fund to provide financing for college educations for Walton County students that couldn't afford those. And that fund still gives money to students today. It has changed names, so I think it's part of the Walker Fund now, but still providing money to kids who need it to go to college. So let's talk a little more about our historic courthouse. We mentioned the fact that Bruce and Morgan designed the courthouse, and it had a dome when it was built. And there's another courthouse that's it's twin, and that courthouse is located in Monroe, North Carolina. It's still used as their courthouse. It still has its dome, and additions have been made on the sides, but we've never seen the dome on our courthouse. That is until last week, when Larry Witcher called me up. And I was working desperately to try to finish this program, and Larry said, "Are you busy?" And I said, "Well, yes." And he said, "Well, I got something I'd like to show you when you got time. Don't worry about it. It's just a picture of the courthouse." And I said, "Has it got the dome on it?" And he said, "Yes." I said, "I'll be there in a minute." And so what Larry, and this thing, he had this for 15 years, but he couldn't find it. So what it is a postcard. And it's not a photograph, but it's an artist rendering of the Walton County Courthouse. And this postcard was postmarked in October of 1883. That's 8 months after the courthouse was completed. And the dome is right there, complete with clock. And the postcard is addressed to Governor McDaniel in Atlanta. Just a little closer look. And this is the oldest photograph we have of the courthouse, and that was made sometime between 1906 and 1910. This fire hydrant right here tells us it's after 1906, and the fact that the other clock hadn't been put in it yet tells us it's before 1910. When the clock was put in, B.S. Walker had it put in. So, another thing that most people don't know. But we're glad to have this. Sure are. It was exciting to me. I know most people don't get as excited about stuff like that as I do. All right, we're going to talk about a few more people of note in Monroe. We're going to start with Peanut Man. We've had 3 Peanut men in Monroe. The first that I know of was Jesse Johnson, who was called the Goober Man. Jesse died in 1941, so it's unlikely that anybody here today remembers him. But most of us who've lived here a while would remember Will Malcolm. Will would walk Broad Street with his sack over his shoulder and sell peanuts, parched peanuts they would call. And he even got on the bus, he'd go to Athens and sell peanuts. And over there, actually, they had Will Malcolm Day in Athens one time. And then Brent Malcolm, Brent sold everything. but he did sell peanuts for quite a while and became Monroe's peanut man. Charles M. Walker developed Monlin Place, which is Boulevard. It was Monroe's first organized neighborhood. And he was also, he and his wife paid to have a third story added to the First Baptist Church's Sunday school edition, and also paid to furnish that. George Nunley was the first Monroe boy killed in World War II. And George had volunteered for the Rangers, and he was wounded in Italy and recovered from that wound. He got, of course, the Purple Heart, and he also received the Silver Star for that. He rejoined his unit shortly after the landing at Anzio, and in an effort to overrun or take over a Nazi stronghold, he and his whole company, except for 6 men, were killed. Robert Lee Bob Nowell Jr. was an extraordinary golfer, played golf with Bobby Jones and others, but he also was kind of like B.S. Walker. He did a lot for the community behind the scenes, and especially for young people in the community. In 1956 or 7, when they were remodeling the old armory to be a rec center, the students of Monroe High School decided to name it now a recreation center in his honor. Michael Etchison was the first Monroe policeman killed in the line of duty. George Selman, who we mentioned briefly a while ago, was a driving force behind Monroe's development, especially business development. He was one of the founders of our first corporation, the Monroe Guiana Company, which went on to be the Monroe Oil and Fertilizer Company. And Joseph Felker, this gentleman right here, was a lawyer and a judge. He gave the land for the first Monroe High School on Church Street, where Pilot Park is today. And let's see, this little girl right here is Allie Felker, who married J.R. Nunley, and after his death, she actually ran Nunley Lumber Company on Church Street. Some of you probably remember her. Very gracious lady. Eulalia Gober Nunley was married to W.H. Nunley. She was born in Jefferson, Georgia, and she was very well educated and refined, and she married this gentleman. This is their 50th wedding anniversary, W.H. Nunley, and moved to Good Hope and lived on the farm. She never lived on the farm in life, didn't know anything about farming. But she survived. She managed the household of the farm, and actually wrote articles for the Atlanta Constitution about farm life and about reconstruction in Georgia after the war. And she's really the first person that I've heard called a historian for Monroe and Walton County. Very active in a lot of the women's service clubs and all. Ernest Camp was publisher of the Tribune for over half a century. He came to Monroe and went to work for the Tribune as editor, and I think 1 year later bought it and managed it up until about 1957 when he passed away. And that's another man that we'll never know what all he did for this community, because the situation he had in life put him in touch with influential people like President Roosevelt, who came to Warm Springs, Georgia on a fairly regular basis and was pretty good friends with Ernest Camp. And you can be in people's ear and get things done that you can't do through formal channels, and I think he did a good bit of that for our community. These two people we wouldn't have any of this stuff I'm telling you right now if it wasn't for these two people. Anita Butt Sams, who wrote our fantastic county history, Wayfarers in Walton. I can sit in front of this computer and click my mouse 3 times and find anything in the world that exists about Monroe. If she wanted to find anything about Monroe, she had to get in the car and drive to Atlanta to the archives, which she did on, I won't say a daily basis, but she spent a lot of time. I sometimes think she probably had a room up there, not sure. And
For this program and much more, visit us online at yourlocalstream.com. That's yourlocalstream.com.